Okay, let's move on now to some of the assurance engagement services. Okay, yeah, here we are. Audit related services including engagements such as data review, agreed upon procedure, and compilation. And we will dwell here now. When we are talking about review, it simply means somebody had done something and we are to take a second look at it, right? Okay, so it's an assurance service. Review is an assurance service, and like when we started, in assurance service, the best assurance we can give is limited assurance, low level assurance, or what we can equally call negative assurance. Example of assurance engagement, review engagement rather. Let us say as a practitioner, we were called upon to review HR policy. So this is a review engagement, and is highly dependent on the experience of the practitioner. It's highly dependent on the experience of the practitioner. And in review engagement, we can have attestation engagement and direct reporting. If you remember when we started, I was like, we are going to get to an exception. And this is the exception I was talking about. In attestation engagement, auditor or practitioner is engaged or called upon to affirm, just as the word sounds, to affirm and put a reliability on a subject matter. But when it comes to direct reporting engagement, the auditor is under the agreement to expressly state his or her opinion. Should I come slowly? In direct reporting engagement, even though it's an assurance services, and if you remember, I said only in audit we must express our opinion in writing. But this is the exception to the rule when it comes to direct reporting engagement under review, under assurance services. We are to give our opinion in writing. Please don't forget. And that is the exception to that rule. Due diligence. Due diligence, when we are talking about due diligence, is another review work. And this does not require like audit testing and the like. It's an assurance services, but is an environment for highly skilled practitioner. And due diligence is usually used when there is a merger and acquisition, management buyout, and things like that. That is why we have due diligence being used. Due diligence work does not require test of control, like I said, but is an investigative review in which we need to go in detail and examine the assets and the liability of the intended party to be purchased. So the prospects will be thoroughly examined by the practitioner and feed the intended party that wants to buy with relevant information as regards their observation on the field. Like we will all agree, anybody that wants to sell will like to hide the liability. Therefore, it is wisdom on the part of the buyer to dig very deep into the matter before they buy. Sellers will always hide the liability and buyers will always want to buy assets. So we must be able to match the two so that we will know what purchase consideration to put on the transaction. Items to investigate in due diligence. Of course, the financial position of the organization we want to buy, their operational issues must be looked at. So in their industry, what are the products or inputs that are not easily accessible? Can the business model be scaled upon? Is it scalable and the like? All those things must be looked at. We must look at management representation. That is, relevant information that we would like them to put in writing must be obtained. Identification of assets, it could be scattered everywhere. We need to ensure that, okay, they are actually in existence. So in a case like this, we are not talking about observation. We are talking about inspection. We are talking about inspection, asset verification, and the like. Okay, last but not the least, let's talk about agreed upon procedure. Agreed upon procedure. This is audit in reverse. That is, it will define what audit is. The reverse of that definition will be agreed upon. So agreed upon procedures, simply put, is a review service in which the auditor or the practitioner rather is called upon to do a certain things as the organization wants it, or as the management wants it done. You know, in audit is regulated. There is standard for our performance to be followed. So in audit, auditor dictates the team what to be done and the like. But when it comes to agreed upon procedure, the reverse is the case, in which the client will be telling us this and this are what I want you to examine, and please get back to us about your observation. So we are not in this regard saying this is how we are going to go about our work. The client that engaged us will be telling us this and this are what you should do. And agreed upon exercise is usually carried on in a matter in which the management or anybody engaging us have a very broader knowledge about what probably had happened or what they want us to work upon and review for them. But somehow, for reasons best known to them, they are engaging us to do the work. That is agreed upon procedure. Let's quickly dwell on compilation engagement or compilation services. So this is another form of assurance engagement in which all we need to do is to compile relevant information for the use of our clients. And tax is an example of compilation. From the word compile, it simply means putting relevant things together in one place. for suitable use. So, you know, in tax, what we do is to identify what will be allowed, what will be disallowed, what does the law say in this regards, and I apply all those things to arrive at the tax liability and the like. The financials must have been prepared, but we are isolating some items on the financials for tax purposes. So when we do that, that is, take some relevant information, put them together in one place for a purposeful use, we are compiling something, and that is compilation services or compilation engagement. Let me quickly touch on engagement letter, then we wrap it up. Though we are going to study this more elaborately, but just as is here, let's just talk about it. So engagement letter is a letter that auditor gives to summarize their understanding of the work that we are being called upon to carry out. So when the clients call us and are satisfied with everything from the onset, they will give us an appointment letter for that purpose. So I will return by giving them the engagement letter for the service. So by the time we meet again, we'll continue on chapter or our module. Then we'll be talking about the regulated or regulatory environment. We'll be talking about regulatory environment and the like. This is Gbenga Olatunji signing off from G. James Associates. We are value to life, we are value to your business. If you've not subscribed, please go and subscribe to us. And a quick recap of what we've discussed. We've discussed about the meaning of assurance, the meaning of audit, types of audit, types of assurance services. We've discussed about parties to assurance engagement. We've spoken about the person that is engaging us, the practitioner itself, and the end user of our information that make up a party. Then the subject matter, suitable criteria, evidence, and reports. The advantages and the disadvantages have been spoken concerning. Other audit related services, we've discussed it. Direct reporting, due diligence, compilation, review of data has been discussed, and we cap it by what is engagement letter. So, Gbenga Olatunji, I see you next time.